My name is Karen Block. This is my husband, Alan.
My name is Lynn Satloff-Karras, and this is my husband, Stephen Karras. We are thrilled and delighted that 270 of you have joined the four of us to pay tribute to and celebrate with Rabbi Liben.
I do have to say there's something a little bit contrived about coming together this evening. This whole notion that it's Rabbi Lieben's bar mitzvah year, it's really the opposite of a bar mitzvah celebration. At a bar mitzvah, what we're saying is, you know, kid, you really haven't done anything yet, and now we start to look forward to your doing things. And what we're really saying by our presence here tonight is paying tribute to how much Rabbi Liben has done in the 13 years that he's been the rabbi of Temple Israel of Natick. I am not embarrassed to note that this is a much better congregation than it was when I left. And Rabbi Liben is largely responsible for that. It's barely a week until Pesach, so let me offer a Pesach text for that. Remember the story? Moses comes to Pharaoh and says, "Let my people go," and Pharaoh kicks him out. So he comes back with another idea. He says, "We have a holiday coming up. We need 3 days to go out into the desert and worship." Whether he's just lying because he figures give us a 3-day head start and we'll be so far down the road Pharaoh won't catch us, or whether he's calculating that after being free from slavery for 3 days, the Israelites will cherish their freedom so much that there's no way they will go back, we don't know. But he says, give us 3 days. And Pharaoh says, religious holiday, 3 days? Sure, no problem. I know how you Jews are. You have a holiday, 95% of you show up for work, and a few of you go to the services for the holidays. And Pharaoh says, mi vami haholchim. Give me the names of the couple of dozen Israelites who are going to keep this holiday. 3-day pass, we can always, they'll make it up next week. And Moses says, no, you don't understand. This is different. And Moses says to Pharaoh, binarenu uvizkenenu nelech. This is involving us all, from the very youngest to the very oldest. And that, it seems to me, has been Rabbi Lieben's philosophy. And that's why he's made this so much better a congregation of the 13 years he served here. Binarenu vizkenenu. He has reached out and involved every dimension, every aspect, every segment of the congregation. From the youngest, one of the blessings of having 5 children is that whenever a new member shows up, they have somebody who has a feel of the family. To the oldest and everyone in between. Services for the increasing number of people who come regularly to services. Challenging classes for those who respond to that, and beginners classes for those who want to get in on the ground floor. Creative arts and crafts types things for those who want to express their involvement in the synagogue in that way. Israeli dancing, why didn't I ever think of leading that? And it works. It works. It has involved everyone, large numbers enthusiastically, and best of all, with a sense of ownership. A sense that this is not Rabbi Lieben's congregation to which they are coming. It's their congregation. It's their congregation because they make all the things happen that happen here at Temple Israel of Natick. I'm listed on your program as offering an invocation, and Steve said that it would take the form of an opening prayer, so let me end up with a bracha, and it's one that needs a little bit of an introduction. When the Israeli writer Shai Agnon won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the early 1960s, and when his award was presented to him by the King of Norway, Agnon, in receiving the award, mumbled a few words of Hebrew before he began his acceptance address. The reporters asked him afterwards what that was all about, and he explained, there's a bracha you recite when you meet a king, and this is the first time I've ever had a chance to say it. When Rabbi Emanuel Jacobovitz retired as Chief Rabbi of the British Commonwealth and was knighted by Queen Elizabeth for his efforts, I don't know if he recited that bracha when the Queen conferred knighthood upon him, prompting one comment that Jacobovitz is the first rabbi to be called Lord since Jesus. But if he did say the bracha, I wonder if Queen Elizabeth responded with a punchline from the old Jewish joke, why is this night different from all other nights? Somehow I found it a little hard to imagine Queen Elizabeth knowing the punchline to all Jewish jokes. So we don't teach your children in the religious school the bracha you recite when you meet a king. But there is another bracha you recite when you meet a person who is a master of Torah. A person who embodies Torah, who embodies the values of Torah. And that's the blessing I would, in the name of all of you gathered here, welcome Rabbi and Mrs. Liben with these words. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shechalak michochmato lireyav. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of time and space, who has shared his divine wisdom with those who serve him. Amen.
Dear friends, I am delighted to be here with my wife Janet for this very special and festive occasion in honoring your wonderful Rabbi, Rabbi Dan Liben. And it is clear from everything that we know about him, thanks, and everything that has been happening here at Temple Israel. The testimony of your Rabbi Laureate was in itself a wonderful tribute to Dan. And it's clear that Dan's coming here and becoming the rabbi, that was a great shidduch and continues to be a wonderful shidduch. And he, as you know, in this past year, has been elected as president of the New England Rabbinical Assembly. His family were wonderful congregants of ours, and Danny was a wonderful young man growing up, and I had the privilege, before we left Malvern, to officiate at his bar mitzvah. And we not only should be honoring Dan, Rabbi Dan, this evening, but we should also be honoring Fran as well, because Fran and Dan are a great shidduch. You know, the Torah tells us about, we've been reading this in the last few weeks actually, about the special garb that was worn by the high priest, who was Aaron, the first high priest. And it tells us that he wore what is called an ephod, a kind of an apron-like garment, and on his shoulders there were stones that were inscribed with the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. And then we're told a little bit later on that in addition to that ephod that he wore, he was also wore around his waist, he wore the names of the tribes that were inscribed on 2 stones. And so both on his shoulders and over his heart, he was carrying the names of each one of the tribes of Israel. And I think that the reason why our tradition said that he should have the names of all of us on his shoulders and near his heart is that he should bear upon his shoulders the particular burdens of each one of our people, and that he should also feel near his heart the concerns and the tribulations that every one of us suffers at different times of our life. And I think the reason that we're honoring Rabbi Liben tonight is not only all of the great projects that he has established for us, the Rabbinical Assembly, and for you in the congregation, but I think that we honor him here in particular because you know him so well, and you know that he has been bearing the burdens that people have come to him about the kinds of difficulties that people have, and he not only bears those burdens and is happy to be able to be of help, but he also, symbolized by the heart, he has the compassion and the concern for each person in this congregation. And you can feel it as soon as you come here. You feel it in the joy that all of us are celebrating this evening. And we want to wish Rabbi Dan and Rebbitzin Fran, we want to wish them many, many years of simchas, of celebrations, of anniversaries. So you are the people who are privileged to have him as your guide, and may you continue to flourish under his guidance and his wisdom, at least until 120. Thank you.
This song was really part of the job description when we were looking for a rabbi to be the next rabbi of Temple Israel of Natick. Because this song talks about a rabbi who sings, a rabbi who dances, and a rabbi who teaches. And that's certainly who we found in Dan Liben. A rabbi who sings because he understands that words don't exist alone, and words are enhanced by the infusion of the being of one's soul, which is how music adds to text. A rabbi who dances is one who understands that one finds joy with the whole of one's physical being and spreads that joy, leading others to that experience. And surely a rabbi who teaches, because the words of Torah, the words of our tradition, are wisdom that he is able to share with us all and lead us through his heart to deepen our affection for being a part of the continuing chain of Jewish tradition. And so, Dan, this song is really about you. Mach nicht kein Gerede, der Rabbi geht schon singen wie der Schah. Still, mach nicht kein Gewalt, der Rabbi geht schon tanzen bald. Der Rabbi sieht, zittern die Welt, wo mir Alaxidim lach, blisken mit der Hand. Schach, still, mach nicht kein Gerede, Rabbi geht schon tanzen wie der Schach. Still, mach nicht kein Gewalt, der Rabbi geht schon tanzen bald. Als der Rabbi tanzt, zittert mir den Himmel, wo mir Alaxidim lach, nicht machen kein Tumor. Still, mach nicht kein Gerede, Rabbi geht schon sorgen wie der Schah. Still, mach nicht kein Gewalt, Rabbi geht schon sorgen bald. Und als der Rabbi sagt, vor dem Eulen teurer. In der Lachsidim lach, a große Meura. Still, mach nicht kein Gerede, Rabbi geht schon tanzen wie der Schah. Still, mach nicht kein Gewalt, Rabbi geht schon tanzen bald. Der Rabbi geht schon tanzen bald.
Which well on her shoulder, she declared, our pattern backsliding on. People shall we go, our skipping, careful on people, your ribbon speaks Latin, backsliding on. She's nobody's fool, so I'm playing it cool as can be. I'll give it a whirl, but I ain't for no girl catching me. Switch a roulette.
Well, I can't believe it's actually been around 12 years. You've been here for 13 years, and Linda and I have been here for 12 years. All those carpools, just think of all those carpools. And you know what? Unfortunately, all those carpools are coming to an end soon. Holly's done with Schechter, and
well, maybe they'll put Sarah at Gann Academy.
Maybe
we'll
he'll
have
put
to see.
maybe he'll put Sarah at Gann Academy,
knows?
but who knows? I just can't believe how quickly these 12, 13 years have gone by. I hope that we have another 12, 13 years together, and another 12.
More than that.
Another 12 and 13 on top of that, and it's been wonderful.
We love your family and your extended family, and we look forward to all the times that we're together and that we will be together in the future.
And we're glad that we're here to help you celebrate.
That's right.
I'm watching it. Sister Lori.
Dan, all of my best wishes and most sincere wishes to join you on your second bar mitzvah 13 years from now. Thank you for all you've done and for all your wise counsel and support during my tenure as immediate past president. Mazel tov, my best to you, Fran, and the family. Ellen?
Hi, Dan. Smartest thing I ever did at Temple Israel was to sit on the ritual committee when they were doing a search committee for a new rabbi. And all I can say is thank you for being my rabbi and thank you for becoming a very close friend. Thanks, Danny. And to the rest of the family, enjoy the sharing all the times we share together. Thank you.
Dan, I wish you another 13 years of the same success or even more than you've had in the past. While I was here tonight, somebody asked me when it was that I was president. I couldn't remember the years, but all of a sudden it occurred to me it was 13 years ago. And what I remember, what an exciting time that was. And what made it exciting was you, Dan, the vision you had for what the temple could be. And look what you've done. The spirit that you talked about is the spirit that you've created. Not only am I pleased to have known you, I'm very proud of you.
Rabbi Liben, let me wish you a mazel tov on this wonderful occasion. May you continue to lead this congregation from strength to strength for many more years. Thank you so much.
Rabbi, it's my extreme pleasure to wish you a mazel tov on this wonderful occasion. I have to tell you that for me it's a great pleasure to be here tonight, to see you celebrate 13 years in Temple Israel. As you know, I was one of the first people to greet you when you came to Temple Israel, as you were the rabbi when I was president. I got to know you as a rabbi, as a friend, as somebody that I needed for counseling during that time. And I know all of your qualities, and you are a tremendous asset to the synagogue. I love you, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Okay. Dear rabbis, cantors, colleagues, and friends, we gather tonight to pay homage to a rabbi for his 13 faithful years of service to the community, for his dedication, for the lives he has touched, and the ways in which he has inspired us. In preparation for these remarks, I surveyed many prominent Jews throughout the Boston area and asked them what words came to mind when thinking of Rabbi Dan Liben. Engaging, kind, interested, caring, of course, a mensch. All outstanding and worthy characteristics of one to whom much honor is due. However, these adjectives alone do not really capture Rabbi Lieben's true spirit, because many more of us, and you've already heard this tonight, know Rabbi Liben as the dancing rabbi. The Hasidic rabbi, Reb Nathan of Nemirov, said, "My heart lifted my feet and I danced." Since 1989, your rabbi has taught a generation of campers modern and traditional Israeli dance at Camp Ramah in New England. The rabbi began his own dancing career when still in high school and danced his way through Camp Sedgwin, Camp Blue Star, with Fred Burke in the 92nd Street Y, and with the Par Parim performing group. His dancing conveys your rabbi's special character and in his dancing, we see his depth of religious and spiritual commitment. My experiences with Rabbi Liben have been in our shared efforts on behalf of the larger Jewish community. Rabbi Liben has served for 10 years as a dedicated member of the Commission on Jewish Continuity and CJP's Family Education Committee, the chair of whom is here tonight, Deanne Stone. There, at that committee, we see his passion for making a difference in the lives of families and engaging Jews on journeys of lifelong learning and celebration. When we sought to bring Maya to Metro West, it was Rabbi Liben who championed the cause of adult learning. It was Rabbi Liben who recruited his congregants and fellow rabbis to create the powerful collaboration that has borne the fruit of many more successes in Metro West. It is through this work with Rabbi Liben that I truly came to appreciate him as the strong, passionate, and visionary leader that he is. He really was one of the draws for me to come here to Metro West, to be his partner and your partner in helping create our new Jewish day school for this community. But Rabbi Liben is also dear to me as a champion and advocate of Jews with special needs. He has written and spoken about the importance of inclusion of everyone in a synagogue community. And he has afforded me and my son Shalom the opportunity to speak from your bima about the important role the Jewish community can play to impact the lives and families of people with special needs. Finally, and I want to acknowledge the Rabbi as a role model to all of us as a parent. Jonah, the number 3 son, is a very dear friend of my son Ari, and Jonah is a delicious kid. Let's face it, folks, who but a man of faith, fortitude, and Fran could bring 5 children into this world? And 5 wonderful, successful, happy children. What could be a better or more important example for a Jew than that? So tonight, at this Bar Mitzvah celebration, we dance with you, Rabbi Dan, in honor of all that you do, in honor of the great joy you bring to our community. Mazal Tov, may you go from strength to strength.
And now I call forward Arnold Zarkessa, the headmaster of the Solomon Schechter Day School of Greater Boston, and the former educational director here at Temple Israel.
Thanks very, very much. First off, to Steve and to Lynn, thank you very much for asking me to be here tonight amongst this distinguished and very, very warm and generous crowd. It's a real pleasure and a real honor to be here this evening. I know that you know that I also had the honor of serving this congregation. I served the congregation, I would say I was there at the beginning. I was there when Rabbi Liben first came to the congregation. So if you'll permit me, I have something of a bird's eye view of his contribution to this community. Not only was I able to be here yesterday, but I've been here from time to time over the past 11 years to get a feel of the contribution he's made, besides the 3 that I was here when I first got here. When Rabbi Liben first got here, he encountered a community that was a remarkable one to begin with. I think it's not unfair to say that this community has a very special character, a very special Tom, a very special personality that I think is remarkable. And if you're not aware of it, let me give you the view a little bit from the outside of what this community is about. It's a community of people who have moved themselves not too far away from what the center of Jewish life is, but a community that has said, we want the center of Jewish life. We want to be involved. We want to be engaged. We want to be a community. And the reputation of this community in the wider Boston area is one of tremendous warmth, tremendous commitment, and a wonderful and beautiful history. Rabbi Liben walked into that congregation, but frankly at a point that I would call a pivotal point, a transition point. It had had the remarkable leadership of Rabbi Kushner for many, many years, and a young rabbi, Rabbi Cooper, who was beginning to make a contribution and made a decision to move on relatively early in his tenure here. And I think it's fair to say when Rabbi Liben first came to Temple Israel of Natick, it was at a point that was a critical point in the life and the history of this congregation. Where was the congregation going to go? What would be its new course? It was at a point where it needed to maintain and hold on to the commitments of the families who had built this congregation, who had literally built this building. to hold on to them, to hold on to that leadership, but to forge a path of new leadership, to bring in a wider circle of families and community. Who was that person going to be? Was the person going to be up to the task? I remember the first week when Rabbi Liben came to the congregation. I remember what people said. They said, he seems so young. He seems so nice. Can he really be up to this task that's in front of him right now? Can he help guide our congregation to what it's going to be? Can he help bring our congregation into the future that we want for us and for our children? And this was the common question, I believe, whether members were vatikim, members who were veterans, or whether they were new or younger members. Was this person going to be up to it? I can tell you from those of us who worked closely with Rabbi Liben, those of us who studied with him, who worked with him, from the first it became very clear. This was a man of remarkable vision. This was a man of remarkable heart. And one of the things that impressed me more than anything, he was a man who understood the distance between an idea and seeing it through. That's no small thing. I saw it in the educational programs. I saw it in his vision for bringing young families into the congregation, working with young people, maintaining strong connections with the seniors of this community, with the veterans of the community. And so it is no surprise to me that here, as we celebrate his 13th year, that we've put together an evening such as this. Because a man who brings together this sort of energy, this sort of vigor, this sort of vision, and this sort of depth of commitment to maintaining the beautiful traditions of a community such as this, but helping it grow into its beautiful future, such as this room and the renovations here and the vibrant community that you've become, it's no surprise that you honor him this evening. You know, every morning when we say our prayers, there's a certain prayer we set aside in which we kind of tell ourselves something. We quote from the Mishnah and we say, these are the things, Elo Devarim, these are the actions that ensure our reward, not only in this world, but in the world to come. And there's a long list, but the list is culminated by the person who brings peace. That is really the very highest thing one can do. For a man who combines not only vision, but real politics, who's able to bring together a community and bring it to its next level, its next madrega, and doing that with a tremendous affection for his Yiddishkeit, for his family, and for every family in this room, we all owe him tribute. I can say that he has been a personal model to me. I know he's been a model to every person in this room, to this entire congregation, and I think you should know to the wider Jewish community of Boston, he has also been a model. My tribute to you, Rabbi Liben, thank you for being our partner, and thank you all.
Being Jewish in the suburbs, a challenge, no? But here in Metro West, you might say, we have taken on the challenge, given it our all, tried to combine suburban life with things Jewish. It isn't easy. You may ask, why do we live out here, so far from the butchery and even Tom China? We do it because this is our home. And how do we survive here in Yakupovitsville? That we can tell you in 2 words. Dan Liben. Who day and night must scramble for a living, feed the wife and children, say his daily prayers, and who has the right as master of the house to have the final word at shul. Dan Liben, the rabbi. Drive the carpool home, keep a quiet home, a kosher home. Who must raise a family, help run the home, and still have time to read the holy books. The rabbi, Dan Liben, the rabbi, Dan Liben. At 3 he started Hebrew school. At 10 he learned to dance. We hear he's learned to meditate. We think that's weird. Dan Liben,
question? Certainly, Mendel. Schmilly, is there a proper blessing for the rabbi? A blessing for the rabbi, of course. May God bless and keep the rabbi right here in Temple Israel.
Rabbi Liben, can we ask you to come up here for a minute, please? We feel truly blessed that we count you as a very close friend. And yet, so do the other 272 people who are here to honor you this evening. 274. You have the amazing capability to make each person feel unique, special, and most importantly, heard. And as you have established your path here at Temple Israel of Natick as one where you strive to repair the world, Tikkun Olam, you carry us along with you. We are a better community as a result of your being our rabbi. Your positive attitude envelops all of us. Your love of Israel manifests itself in all of the past, recent, and ongoing trips, discussions, and projects we are involved in. As our spiritual leader, you have set us on a course that makes us proud of who we are simply because of who you are.
Tonight, we'd like to present you with several gifts as token of our appreciation. Many of you know that this year Temple Israel has embarked on a Torah writing campaign called Create the Legacy of Torah. As this is your 13th year here at Temple Israel, we would like to symbolically honor your bar mitzvah, and specifically your bar mitzvah parsha, Emor, which we share, thereby inextricably linking you to Temple Israel forever. We have a certificate, Create the Legacy of Torah. This is to certify that the Parsha Emor has been commissioned in celebration and commemoration of Rabbi Daniel Lieben's 13 years of service to Temple Israel of Natick, and it's signed by Ari Silverman and Alan Strackman, the co-chair people of the Create the Legacy of Torah campaign. There were many levels of participation in this gala, by our committee, by the congregation, and by the community at large. We have compiled a memory book with personal thoughts provided by many people in your honor, including recognition by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the town of Natick, and Representative Markey. And last, but certainly not least, we have a beautiful commemoration of this evening, which will look wonderful in your office and will serve to remind you of the impact you have on our community. Thank you for everything you have done and continue to do. And Dan, may you go from strength to strength.
My first bar mitzvah, as you heard, was at the Malvern Jewish Center on May 18, 1968, and it was Parshat Emor. The Haftarah from the prophet Ezekiel, well, it was totally beyond my comprehension at the time. Believe me, I have a lot of sympathy for the kids who come to me for help. But looking back upon the 2 short English paragraphs that I delivered on the subject at the time, I still have them at home. I'm convinced that Rabbi Cheel must have written them for me. What does it mean for a congregation that already has an illustrious history and reputation to come of age? After all, when I arrived here in 1991, Temple Israel was, as they say in the rabbi biz, a plum job. A vibrant congregation nationally recognized for its programs and for its outstanding rabbinic leadership. Indeed, it was daunting to take the pulpit that had been filled for 25 years by Harold Kushner, and to this day I value Harold's words and his perspective. And yet, in each era, religious institutions must redefine themselves anew. Because the world outside these four walls, the world that shapes the way we lead our lives, is constantly shifting and changing. And we have no choice but to engage the process of transformation head on. Is it really necessary to elaborate the trends that have affected us in the past few decades? Just to mention a few. The changing definition of family. Our families include two working parents and single parents, interfaith families and same-sex partners. As old assumptions about what families need fade away, keruv, the Hebrew word for outreach, has emerged as a significant mandate for us. The reemergence of spirituality. Jews, like the rest of America, have embarked in the last decade on a private spiritual journey, a search for personal meaning separate and distinct from their commitment to public ritual observance. How do we nurture that journey and help them to reconnect to traditional communal forms as well? The hunger for kehillah, for community. In an increasingly atomized society, epitomized by the title of the bestseller, Bowling Alone, people are turning to their synagogues for a deeper sense of connectedness to fill the void created by modern suburban life. They need the synagogue now more than ever. The hunger for Torah as a source of personal meaning. We live in an amazing era in which adult Jews have felt empowered to admit what they do not know as a first step towards truly becoming learners. Keruv, empowerment, kehillah, family education, lifelong learning. This is the language of institutional change and transformation that I have brought to the table over the last 13 years. Tonight, we celebrate our coming of age together. We have forged relationships on the executive board, on the board of directors, in committees and over Shabbat Kiddushes, at Simchas and at Shiva homes. We have forged bonds of trust and true partnerships that have enabled us to speak this common language of Jewish values in a changing world. Finally, just as a bar mitzvah doesn't get to the bima all on his own, the partnership between a rabbi and a congregation includes other partners as well. I have been blessed to work with outstanding professionals at Temple Israel who have been both colleagues and friends. For 13 years, I have shared the bima with Chazan Bob Scher, a man who defines professionalism in the cantorate, and whose prodigious gifts have helped to make this community what it is today. Thank you, Bob. Education Director Karen Hayat's enthusiasm and vision of what might be in our school continues to inspire me every day that I come to work. Betsy Garfinkel not only directs the premier Jewish nursery school in Metro West, but continues to provide an open gateway for young families into our Temple community. Youth educator Will Zarrett, the newest member of our professional staff, has proved an eager and able partner in furthering our very important youth agenda. Together, we have here an unbeatable professional team. And I want to thank Karen Yaffe for her friendship and dedication over the years and to take this opportunity to wish her a refuah shlema, a full and speedy recovery. And I want to acknowledge Carol Leachin and Annette Salad in our office, and our outstanding teachers, both in our religious school and in our nursery school, and our building support staff, Ernesto Hueso, Billy Lovett, and Ted Rufo, all of them for their professionalism and for their unflagging support for this institution. This evening would not have been possible without the work of many, many people who made of this celebration a real labor of love. Rav Todot, my warm and enduring thanks and best wishes to my dear friends Steve Karras and Lynn Satloff Karras and Karen and Alan Block for jointly cheering this evening, and to all of their wonderful committee members. Aharon Chaviv, last but most beloved, my family. For to teach love, thank you. To teach love, one must know love. To labor on behalf of the Jewish family, one must know the precious joys of a Jewish family. Eshet Chayil Nimtza V'Rachok Mimit Michra, my beloved wife Fran, whose worth is truly beyond rubies. Together we have raised children who bring joy to our hearts and credit to the Jewish people. What more could any rabbi ask for? Thank you very much.
Hey Dan, I wanted to add a few words to this wonderful simcha that we're having in your honor. I was president from the temple 1984 to 1986, just a few years before you came, and I witnessed myself the new life and enthusiasm that you've introduced into the temple. It's really a pleasure to have you here. I think if I were to summarize what I see you've really done in the temple, there's so many things, I won't be able to say them all. But above all, I think you've introduced a strength for the dealing with the youth, to get the youth involved, to get the youth to feel Judaism and proud and fun, to make it a fun place to be. I've seen the kids come up on the bima after the services, during the services. It's a wonderful thing. I represent a generation that has children and grandchildren in the temple, and I'm really proud to say that our granddaughter, Gabby, knows you by first name, and very proud to have you as a rabbi. I also enjoy working with you during the high holidays as the usher in the tent. And last but not least, I think your tremendous enthusiasm for Israel and Zionism is rubbing off on congregants, and it's a wonderful thing to see that. So best of luck in your future. We're very, very happy and lucky to have you here.
Dan, this was truly a tribute that belongs to you. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are today. This congregation is the embodiment of what you have brought here and what you continue to inspire us to do. I'm proud to be a part of that. I'm proud to share the presidency with you as our rabbi, and I look forward to all the other great things that we continue to do around here. This place is a hopping place. You take a look around at the crowd that we had here tonight. It spans all the generations. The most important thing that we raised here, not just all about money. This is all about people building, about team building, about spirit, about what Temple Israel is all about. And it's all about you. And I tip my hat to you, and I give you my mazel tov, and thank you.
Well, Dan, this was absolutely wonderful.
We're proud of you. We're proud of what you've done for the shul, and we're just honored that we could be a part of it and help bring the congregation together for such a great outpouring of community for you in your honor. Mazel tov.
Dan, thanks for giving us the opportunity to honor you as you honor us every day. I hope in 12 years that whomever's president at the time will call us and the blocks and ask us to work on your 25th, because I'm sure that we'd all love to do it again. We've enjoyed working together, and we just wish you mazel tov. May you continue to go from strength to strength.
Dan, this was truly a labor of love, and Lynn is right. Call us in 12 years. We will be so happy if we still have the strength to do this again. We had such a wonderful time, and I think it is such a wonderful tribute to you to see how many people came pouring out of the woodwork with well wishes, with offer of help, with offers of every sort to make this the most wonderful, wonderful evening that we could have ever imagined. Thank you so much for being you, and we look forward to another 25 years, whatever, how many more with you. Thank you.
Rabbi Liben, Dan, I've called you Rabbi, I've called you friend. You know I look up to you. You're a model for me. I am so thrilled that we were able to serve as a conduit so the entire congregation can show their appreciation for you. Now all we have to do is how to figure out how to celebrate a 13th anniversary next year for you. Mazel tov.